We're in the Chamber of Commerce as well.
I was secretary. Again, it shows the peril of when you come to town of going into a meeting and not leaving quick enough. I think I was into a meeting in 1960, 61. It's in 61 when I came back to town and I found myself appointed secretary, and it was quite interesting because there were a lot of projects that we got involved in. We nearly landed. We joined up with a German, Dr. Rosenstock. His family are still doing an entertainment thing. You see the name quite common, but he was a GP back here, and he promoted a few towns. We joined again. We put a few quid into the thing he was doing, and he advertised the town, and we nearly got some. We'd even AGFA over here looking at the town. We nearly developed some further business of the town, but even then the town was strong in the sense that there were nearly as many industrial jobs in Westport in the late 50s as there were in Galway at the time. And you had then at Westport Textiles started off 200 jobs. Again, it's an offshoot or connection with this thread factory which was in town since the 1930s. And Owen Hughes and Jeff O'Malley had developed a contact with their English parents and had got Westport Textiles going with 200 weaving jobs, which lasted for about 20 years. Huge thing in town. And various other companies, and later on Joe Berry set up his printing works. He had up to 100 there at one stage. Quite a lot of industrial jobs for a small size, and then the developing tourism, hotels and all that, which is, and all the developing self-accommodation, and there's a lot in the town for a size.
And who was in the Chamber of Commerce when you were on at that time?
The presidents I can remember were Paddy Kelly, Jeff O'Malley, Bertie Stanton, that's Miles' father, the John O'Donnell, it's Michael O'Donnell's father, Pat O'Connell, who had a brush factory up at
Buckwarry there.
Yeah, up to Knockranny Road. Marty Grady, he was a Northern member. I can't remember all the names.
That's fine.
Stephen Welsh, John Jeffers. Also, some of those were also acting towards the Development Company. It wasn't quite an offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce, which was a specialised company run the sea angling. But it was it was noteworthy that in Westport the business people put a lot of effort into community development, a lot of effort into those, and also one of the few towns where. See, one of the trouble about West of Ireland was a lot of other towns where the banks had big deposits from local business people, but the deposits were used abroad or Dublin. In Westport there was a tradition to put money into the place, and therefore you found all these small factories, the Hughes and the Malleys, the Welches and so on, all had developed some local industry, which all helped. There was a bigger tradition of that in Westport than other towns.
And did you, when you were in the Chamber, did you have any big project that you can remember you got involved in?
Oh, I can't remember anything. Very startling. That's what I can recall now. We did. We pushed for Inishlyre as a deep sea port. Now, if there's deep water out around Inishlyre. Now, it was before the days of I got involved in sailing, and but there is deep water there, and there's shelter. And the idea was that. At around Rosmini, but if we built a jetty out past Rosmini, you could take in bigger ships come into the quay, because the quay had severe limitations. Giles is very much active in Chamber of Commerce, and he had been importing and stuff, and he knew that only about 600-ton boats could get into the quay, and it was close enough to silting and so on. So we were pushing that idea, and it went fairly well actually, as far as the deputation up to Sean Mass, but it just didn't develop. I think some technical report came against it and so on, but it seemed a good idea at the time. Now looking back on it, I think maybe from the tourism point of view, it probably wasn't the best use of that area to be.
Yeah.
But
then it might have opened other avenues. So.
Yeah, but the trouble is, John Malloy had advised the Westport Port days agone as a because these small steamers used to come over from Holland and from ply up and down the coast. There were corporate regulations that had to have a certain minimum staff and all that, and they weren't just going to be there anymore.